Greetings, friends. Here I am today, about to start MerMay 2022. Also, this year known as MerMay. That's right. So this is day one. Look at my completely blank slate right here. I don't know what I'm gonna draw, but you're gonna watch me figure it out. Or not watch me, but I'm gonna record it anyway. It's here for you to watch. Hi, it's me again. Just so you know, this video is more than just the first day. I recorded this and then I never edited it. And this whole video is a reflection of all of MerMay 2022. In case you were confused, because it's confusing. So just here to clarify, okay? Back to it. Okay, enjoy!
Hi, hello, it's June Brooke here to reflect on MerMay 2022. Because I'm looking at these notes that I had at the beginning of the process and trying to think about why am I doing MerMay again? So let me just start back in the beginning, 2020, because here's the thing about me. I do love drawing, yeah, and I love taking on new projects, just constantly new projects to do. And before May of 2020, it was so difficult for me to finish anything. When I decided to do MerMay, this was like not at all the first time that I attempted to do a daily art challenge. I had definitely tried several other times and failed for sure. I think they weren't like a specific month experience. I think it was like, hey, I found these prompts, let me do one every day. And the self-motivation was not there. Something aligned miraculously in May 2020, and I was able to do a drawing every single day. I streamed a ton of them, I recorded a bunch of them, and it worked. It worked. Of course, I had to give myself something a little bit more fun to do with it. So in May of 2020, and I had to make it a little bit ironic, I guess, I did all Ariel from The Little Mermaid, Disney's The Little Mermaid, Ariel fan art, every single one. Some of them maybe had some other characters in there too, but it was all Ariel. And that, I think, helped because then I was drawing the same character over and over again, and I got a little more practice with it. There's some issues that I ran into doing MerMay beyond May 2020, which I'll talk about in a bit. But that first run worked really well. There was only one drawing that took me a long time to fully finish just because I had so much detail in the drawing itself. And I streamed for like 5 hours that day, just drawing this, just sketching and then getting the line art done. So I then streamed many other times to finish up the coloring, and then I had a little bit of an animated portion to go along with it too. But otherwise, MerMay 2020 was very successful for me, and it changed a lot about the way that I made my art, namely in that I could finish things now. So after that, I was able to make different illustrations like my courtyard drawing that I had a vision when I was half awake in the morning one day. And that ended up evolving into my Slice of Life Moonscream Manor short. So that was like a crazy huge thing. After MerMay 2020, there was a Coldplay art challenge for parachutes, which, by the way, I'm trying to create my own art challenge for A Rush of Blood to the Head's 20th anniversary. So keep your eyes peeled for that if you're interested in Coldplay. Then a drawing from that challenge evolved into me creating artworks for every Coldplay album, one for each album up to that point. Now we're one behind. Another project that I'm trying to hopefully take on later this year. And ever since then, I've been making other things as well. I did participate in MerMay last year, 2021. In that same month, I also started creating like weekly animations for my social media pages. I've fallen off of that a little bit, but this is part of stuff that I'll talk about for how did May 2022 go. And then other things, other illustrations that I've created in that time as well. I feel like I've made so much stuff since May of 2020. So that first MerMay was perfect. The second MerMay that I attempted, 2021, I kept going with a theme. Why? Because to me, having a theme really helped to focus. So one of the things that I've done each year, which has helped me in the aspect of motivation for doing a drawing every day, is to set up my PSD files ahead of time. So I have one PSD that has, you know, my sketch layer, my folder set up for my sketches. I throw them in there. So anyway, you don't need to know about that. Swatches, title, layers, all the layers set up. And then I save a version of that for every day, and I name it the number of the day and then underscore and then the name of the prompt. So I don't even have to look up the prompt list. All of the PSDs have the prompt in the title. And it just saves me so much time. It makes it a lot easier to just open up that file and then get started. The other thing in having the theme is that, okay, I know what I'm going to draw. At the very least, I know who I'm going to draw pretty much. So for 2020, it was always Ariel. In 2021, I was really attempting to do Garrus from Mass Effect every day, but he's very difficult to draw. So I ended up broadening it a bit more, and that helped for me because in the beginning, I was like, I don't want to draw Garrus every day, actually. I think a couple of times is enough. So I drew some Morden, Tali, Shepard, Cade. Actually, I really drew everyone I possibly could by the end of it, even some of the creatures. But it was really difficult for me to finish MerMay 2021 because it felt like a chore a lot of the time, and I didn't feel as inspired. It didn't hold the same spark for me, and I'm not sure that I really got much out of it compared to the year before, except for just maybe some practice drawing Mass Effect characters. And what I found too is that like MerMay's fun the first time you do it, but it's really hard to come up with interesting poses for mermaids. They don't have legs. So it really limits what you can do as far as a composition for a character and making it interesting. A lot of my drawings end up being kind of standing poses or laying down poses. It just gets really repetitive, in my opinion. So why did I decide to do MerMay again for 2022? In all honesty, I wasn't really planning on doing it until someone asked me if I was doing it. And then I had the idea because I've been playing Horizon Forbidden West, or I had been. I've since finished it, but have been playing Horizon Forbidden West, which had just come out a few months before. And my brain just said this phrase, Mermaloy. And once I thought that, I was like, God, now I have to do it. Now I have to do MerMay again this year. I wasn't sure it was going to be worth it. And I was I have these notes that I'm looking at right now, to be honest, of what I wrote before I started MerMay, because I was hoping to make a video at the very beginning of it, but life gets in the way, you know? I'm looking at this list of notes and it's all these things that I was trying to figure out, how can I make this worth it for me in setting, as I have written here, a new parameter. So some ideas that I had were to like pick a specific color palette for each drawing, or find some way to incorporate patterns and in like mathematical patterns, and incorporating my electro and crystal aesthetics that I've been evolving over more than half a decade at this point. And even thinking about using shapes to set compositions or concepts that the drawings center around. I did basically none of that. It seems like a good idea looking back at it now, but I really just, once again, had to kind of get through MerMay. But I do think, I'll start with this, I do think it was a better experience this year than it was last year. even though I started to get concerned again. One of the challenges of drawing Mass Effect characters versus a Disney character is that they're more realistic and definitely less less stylized. And with Aloy, it's kind of the same thing. She's another video game character. There's a lot of, one of the things that makes the Horizon series so awesome and interesting is that there's so much storytelling just within the visuals of the game and details in things like the environment and the clothing that the characters wear, the hair, Aloy's hair specifically. And what all of that is to me is extra stuff to draw and have to figure out and have to perfect. And I think in some of my drawings, I managed to simplify them. Some of them kind of shy away from traditional Aloy, but they are still her. And I decided that that was okay, because really what I wanted to do is get myself drawing and creating the art and not worrying too much about how much it fits with the parameters that I set myself. It's good to have those parameters, but breaking beyond them or ignoring some of them is not failure. That's what I'm saying. That's how I approached it. It's not failure. So I have one drawing where Aloy is very bug-based, basically. Does it have anything to do with Horizon? Absolutely not. But is it one of my favorite pieces? Honestly, within the context of MerMay or of like anything I've done, yes, I love that drawing. And I think in retrospect, certainly, I think that is the benefit of me having done this. And the reason why I should have done it is just to create more and explore more art styles. So even if I didn't do it as consciously as, as I had hoped I would from the beginning, I think that it worked out by the end. And okay, so for the previous two, I guess we should address this. For the previous two mermaids, I did a drawing every single day. So it's 31 prompts, 31 drawings. I did take a little bit longer than May to get the 2021 drawings done, but I did manage to have a full set of drawings. That's another nice thing about MerMay. If you do a drawing every day for a month, and a month like May, you have 31 new drawings that you never would have had before. Pretty sure I said that exact same thing in the 2020 reflection. I absolutely did not do the full month this time. And I don't know if I will go back and complete more of them. I have a few, which I'm recording this before doing it, but I think I'm going to screen record the process and include it in here. So you might be watching it now or coming up. I have a few of the days where I sketched some things, but did like one sketch iteration and never took it further. And I do want to continue to refine those as well, but not take them to a finished piece. And then there's tons of the prompts that I didn't get to. I might try to revisit them at some point. One thing I noticed too is the official MerMay prompts repeat. Not every year, but I noticed a few of them for 2022 that were there in 2020 as well. So I'd like to have something new, you know? And I know not everyone who does MerMay follows those prompts exactly. So again, it's like figuring out what works and figuring out what makes you want to create art. I think that's the most important thing about doing any kind of art challenge. And just creating art in general. It's like, what speaks to you about the process? So in total, I actually ended up with 10 finished drawings, which is a nice round number to me. So it's just about a third of what I should have done. But, you know, like I said, life gets in the way. I had a lot of actual work to do, which I sort of had less of the previous 2 years, at least around the time of MerMay. So I had to prioritize, you know. But like I said, the pieces that I did come up with, especially once I started to let go of the idea of sticking too closely to the prompt and also removing the titles from the artwork, because I would have the name of the prompt in the artwork as well. It's hard to stylize them in a way that looks good, and I felt like sometimes it was ruining the actual pieces themselves. And then also it was very obvious when it's like, well, what does this really have to do with that prompt? So I just decided to stop including them. And I think it worked out for the better. And really after the third and fourth drawings is when it started to kick a little more into gear for me. And the final 5 pieces I'm really proud of. Another thing too that I've been trying to incorporate more when I draw, but sometimes I forget, I think I was able to accomplish here, is my art comes out so much better when I start with darker backgrounds or darker environments and add light to them, as opposed to starting with lighter environments and adding the shadows and stuff. I find it much easier to start with something that is dark and have glow and little bits of light coming in, rim lighting, you know, all that good stuff that artists love throwing in there. And you can see that a lot in those final 5 pieces. That's Sea Life, Vibe, Superstar, Mermays, and Cyberpunk. So I'm really glad that I took that approach for those ones. You know, I'll still start with a white canvas to sketch on, but once it comes to doing the coloring, that's when I like to have a darker background to start with. It doesn't have to be like solid black or anything, but just something to help kind of, I don't know, it's like creating a void, but somehow that helps me to ground everything. I don't know if that makes sense. But yeah, I'm really happy with how those pieces turned out. And definitely, I would say if that's one thing that I've taken away from this, is that that process for me really works. And so I'm not going to try to shy away from that because I feel like, oh, but I should be able to make pieces that are good in the opposite way too. No, future me, if you're listening back to this, you better not have thought this way anymore after this. I am not going to, I need to lean into it. It's what works for me, right? We can't all be great at everything. We have to figure out what we are great at and lean into it. So if you haven't figured out what you're great at yet, try doing an art challenge like MerMay and, you know, give yourself some parameters if it helps. Make it fun. You can be a little ironic with it and be like, oh, I'm just going to draw all this one character. For me, it really helps. And I feel so grateful that I decided to do it 2 years ago. Will I do it again after this MerMay? I don't know. Because like I said, in 2021 even, I really learned how much I don't really love drawing mermaids all that much. Maybe part of it is because I don't draw mermaids outside of MerMay. So who knows? Maybe if I get a little more practice in throughout this year of drawing mermaids and trying to figure out, you know, maybe look at some other people's artwork, see how do people really draw mermaids on a regular basis? What are the interesting ways that you can do that? Then maybe next year I'll participate again because I might have more of an idea of how to take it again to the next level. So when you start doing an art challenge like MerMay, you really have to think about what's going to motivate you to keep going. And it's honestly the same for each year. What's going to motivate you to keep going? What can you do differently this time to help push it a little bit further? That for me was my whole purpose of doing art challenges, is to improve my art, either the art itself, which I feel I did this year, or just my workflow and the way that I approach creating art, which definitely 2020 was that for me. So yeah, overall, I am glad that I have continued to participate in MerMay. I don't know if I will in the future, but I definitely have plenty of ideas for other things to do, as I've mentioned before. And I'm gonna keep making art regardless of whether or not they are mermaids or done in the month of May. So stay tuned for that because I'm hoping to utilize this channel a little bit more. Again, I created it as a separate space for my art related stuff and then life got in the way. But I have ideas. If you've enjoyed this, please subscribe to my channel so when I get those ideas out there, you can check them out. And you can always follow me on Twitter and Instagram as well at Caribou Animation. I can also have those linked in the description, and I post a lot of my stuff animation wise over there as well. So that's it, I think. Thank you for watching. So that's it, probably. I don't know because I'm recording this before I've drawn once again. Shouldn't I have recorded this after? That's movie magic for you. Anyway, I hope that you enjoyed this, and I also hope that I enjoyed this.
Peace out.